What if I told you that the chaos on our freeways isn't just about ICE, and the missile fuel being shipped from China to Iran isn't just about the Middle East? Because right now, America is under siege from within and from without. In the last 48 hours, Iran's supreme leader delivered a chilling threat to the United States, mocking our power, while at the same time preparing 800 ballistic missiles with Chinese support. That's not speculation, guys. This is already confirmed. And at the very same moment, protesters swarmed California highways, blocking ICE operations, attacking federal agents, and waving these foreign flags on U.S. soil. Now, ask yourself this. Is this a coincidence, or is all of this coordinated? Because something big is happening right now, and it's bigger than anyone is admitting. So today, I want to dive deep into the real reason that Iran is accelerating toward nuclear capability, why ICE agents are fearing for their lives in California, and probably more importantly, and whether these events are connected by design or by pure political negligence. So stick with me, guys, because we're going to reveal some shocking information, some statements from inside these federal agencies, and a warning from a 4-star general that will make your blood turn cold, guys. Now, this is not just a protest. This isn't just foreign posturing. This may be the most coordinated internal and external destabilization of the United States since 9/11. So let's go ahead and break it down real quick, because the truth is unraveling rather quickly. Now, if you appreciate the daily news updates, please take a second, hit the like button for the video, and subscribe to the channel. So let's go ahead and start with what the media is barely touching right now: Iran's 800 missile threat, and of course, the red hand of China that's behind it. So while the mainstream is busy showing these protest signs on California highways and California freeways, I want to talk about what's quietly being confirmed, or has actually just been confirmed by U.S. and Israeli intelligence just a couple days ago. Iran, well, they're importing thousands of tons of missile fuel. Yes, fuel for ballistic missiles directly from China. Why are they doing this is what you should be asking yourself right now. This includes ammonium perchlorate, a solid fuel oxidizer that, when weaponized, could give Iran the capacity to launch up to 800 missiles. And here is the kicker. This is not for later, okay? This isn't stockpiling for some rainy day or something like that. This is active preparation happening right now as nuclear negotiations with the U.S. under President Trump have collapsed. Now, I want you to pause and think about this. 800 missiles is not a this is not a defensive move, guys. 800 missiles, okay? This is not a warning shot. This is a war posture. And where is all of this coming from? China. The same China that is coordinating with Russia, with North Korea, and yes, with Iran to challenge U.S. dominance globally. So while Washington, D.C. is distracted by the chaos on the ground, the skies are quietly being loaded with what could very well be the next world war. And if you think that's alarming, wait until you hear what Iran's supreme leader said about us just hours before that shipment was confirmed. Now, let's go to the phones and let's hear what people are saying. Ron, I called chapter. Thank you so much. That actually came from Amy Best, and one of our YouTuber subscribers. We're now saving $600 a month. Another says, we're now saving $166 a month. When Social Security is your only income, that is a sweet raise. Now, that came from Cecil Frith Sr. Guys, these are not actors. These are real people who took 10 minutes to call chapter, and they walked away saving hundreds of dollars. This is big time. Give our friends at chapter a call right now at 909-563-8279 or visit askchapter.org/Ron. You've heard it from them, guys, and there's no reason why you can't save some amount of money. So give our friends at Chapter a call right now. Or better yet, hit them up on the website, link in the description down below. Now, Iran's supreme leader did not mince words. On June 5th, he stood before his nation and declared the U.S. can't do a damn thing. That's a quote, guys. Those are not my paraphrasing. He mocked Trump's offer to renew talk. Wow. Like, that's a rather bold statement, isn't it? right? For this Iranian leader to mock Trump's offer for renewed talks, he slammed the U.S. proposal as being insolent. And then he followed up by basically saying, hey, look, he reaffirmed Iran's right to enrich uranium however it pleases. I want you to hear this next part because this is really where it gets terrifying. Iran claims its uranium enrichment is at 60%, but experts and watchdogs suggest that that might be a lie and that Iran could already be weapons ready, if you understand what I mean. So weapons grade uranium is 90%. They're already closer to a nuclear warhead than they are to clean nuclear energy. There's a big difference between the two, and they're bragging about this, guys. Now, I want you to ask yourself, why now? Why this sudden open defiance, right? Why this mass missile preparation while chaos erupts here at home? Well, stick with me because we're about to zoom in on those highway protests in California where ICE agents were under attack and where foreign flags are now flying in the middle of a U.S. freeway. And if this doesn't send some chills down your back, wait until you hear what's being told, or more importantly, who is being told to stand down while federal agents get assaulted. Yeah, guys. Now, what if you're not crazy for thinking that there's more to life than punching a clock, right? What if that voice that's in your head right now, the one that whispers, this can't be it, there's got to be more to this. What if that voice isn't wrong? It's the only honest thing that you've heard all week, right? Well, you've been taught to doubt yourself. You've been taught to believe that security is worth your soul. But deep down, you already know. You were built for something more than just managing emails and sitting in traffic Monday through Friday. So guys, this is why the Liberty Pursuit Network exists, for people like you, the ones who just cannot keep pretending. So stop second guessing your instincts. Click the link in the pinned comment down below or in the description of this video and join the Liberty Pursuit Network. Escape the 9-to-5 grind and get your freedom back today. Now, while Iran is prepping missiles and threatening to wipe entire countries off the map, back here at home in the United States, federal agents are being swarmed. They're being ambushed and assaulted on our own soil. And, you're not going to believe what they're doing when this happened. They were enforcing the law. That's all they were doing. So just hours after Iran's missile escalation was confirmed, chaos broke out in California again. Hundreds of protesters took over Highway 101, a major artery in Los Angeles, blocking traffic, halting ICE operations, and confronting federal agents. You had families in cars stuck for hours, emergency vehicles rerouted, and ICE agents, they were under siege. Guys, we're talking rocks thrown, federal vehicles vandalized, agents cursed out, and even foreign flags waving in the background, including Mexican and Palestinian flags, while U.S. flags were displayed upside down. So this clearly was not a peaceful protest. This was a coordinated disruption of federal law enforcement. And it wasn't just symbolic. It was operational. ICE could not detain the suspects that they were pursuing. So this wasn't civil disobedience. This was obstruction on a national scale. Now, here's where it gets even darker, because when ICE called for backup from local authorities, they were told to stand down. Now, I'm not speculating, guys. I'm not exaggerating. According to multiple sources, including former ICE Director Jonathan Fahey, state and city officials, including Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles, refused to provide support. Just like in 2020, law enforcement was hung out to dry, sacrificed for optics and for politics. And what was their excuse? Well, Newsom's office said federal agents weren't welcome and even had the nerve to suggest that National Guard deployment might escalate the situation. Escalate? Meanwhile, you got federal officers being targeted by projectiles. I mean, that's not leadership, guys. This is clearly abandonment. And it gets even worse than that, because this is what we really need to talk about, guys. What ICE agents are privately saying about the threats that they're facing. Oh, this is huge. why they've started comparing these protests to actual warfare. And more importantly, how the language used by the far left, I'm thinking of names like Adam Schiff, Hakeem Jeffries, and several others, AOC, Ilhan Omar, calling ICE agents Gestapo, may be directly fueling violence. So let's talk about what's really happening with the men and women who are actually trying to protect our borders, guys. Now, if you're still with me, drop the word exposed in the comments down below, because we're about to pull this curtain back here, okay? So far, we've exposed how Iran is preparing for a potential missile strike and how ICE agents on U.S. soil are being blocked, harassed, and attacked by organized mobs. But here's the question that nobody in the media has dared to ask. Is all of this just a coincidence, or is it coordinated, right? June 5th, let's look at the timeline. June 5th, Iran's supreme leader sends a direct warning to the United States, mocking President Trump's nuclear deal and boasting about uranium enrichment. June 6th, the day after, confirmed shipments of Chinese missile fuel arrive in Iran, enough to create 800 ballistic missiles. June 7th through the 8th, protesters block Highway 101 in California. ICE operations are disrupted, and anti-American demonstrations explode across major cities. 3 days, 2 fronts, 1 pattern. Do you really think that it's random that Iran escalates abroad, the United States becomes paralyzed from within? Because here's what former generals, diplomats, and national security experts are warning right now, guys. America's enemies are no longer just foreign nations. They're exploiting chaos right here inside of our own cities. Whether it's through funding, ideology, or influence campaigns, foreign adversaries are celebrating every moment our agents are attacked, every freeway that gets shut down, every law enforcement operation that fails. And the real danger? It's that the breakdown that we're witnessing may not be spontaneous. It may very well be strategic. Now, we've all seen the footage. Protesters waving Mexican flags, Palestinian flags, U.S. flags flown upside down, people chanting that ICE agents are Nazis, that borders are racist and deportation is somehow genocide. Where is this rhetoric all coming from? Who's funding these organizers, right? Like, why are the tactics so identical to Antifa and BLM operations from 2020? Why is there no accountability, no arrests, no condemnation from Democrat leaders? Well, according to DHS whistleblowers, some of these protest networks are being fed content, talking points, and even crypto-based donations from international sources. Let me repeat that, guys. Crypto-based foreign donations fueling domestic disruption in America. And it's not just speculation anymore. Multiple analysts are now openly referring to China, Iran, and Russia as the axis of domestic destabilization. Not because they're attacking us directly, but because they're cheering on the collapse from the inside. But I'm just getting started here because I want to go ahead and dive into what this really means politically. Like, why the Democratic Party cannot rein in their radical wing, and how President Trump is now being forced into a historic decision between diplomacy and force. So if you made it this far in the video, do me a favor. I want you to type "I see it" in the comments down below if you believe that this might be bigger than just a few protests. I also want you to look in the comments and see how many other people made it this far and have typed "I see it" as well. Because I'm about to expose why Trump is holding Israel back for now, and why the Democrats may be betting everything on a losing strategy that's pushing this country to the brink. Okay, guys. So now, we know what's happening on the international battlefield. We talked about it, right? We've exposed what's happening on our own streets. But what we really need to talk about here is what's happening in Washington, D.C., because this is not just a national security crisis. This is a political earthquake. OK, right now, the Democratic Party, they're stuck between a furious American public and a radical activist base that seems more loyal to chaos than country. Let's be clear. The average American supports deporting violent criminals. That's number one, right? The average American does not want highways being blocked, right? I think we can all agree. And the average American wants nuclear threats taken seriously. But what are we seeing instead? Democratic mayors, Democratic governors, even members of Congress defending the protesters, minimizing the violence, and deflecting blame onto Trump. And why? Because inside of today's Democratic Party, if you support ICE, you're called a fascist. If you criticize open borders, you're labeled as a bigot. There's no middle ground anymore. Even moderate Democrats are being silenced or even shoved aside as the far left takes over the narrative. And this is not a fluke. It's exactly what we saw in 2020, and they're doubling down on that same losing strategy today. But here's the big difference. In 2020, they had Biden to hide behind. In 2025, all eyes are on Trump. And so now the pressure is on because President Donald J. Trump, he's facing a once in a generation moment. On one side, he's being briefed daily on Iran's rising threat level. He's got Israel's military leadership begging for the green light to strike. He's watching China, Russia, and Iran essentially form a hostile triangle. And on the other hand, he's watching federal agents under attack, domestic unrest swelling, the Democrat-led cities aggressively resisting his orders. And what does Trump do? He holds back. Yes, Donald Trump told Israel, hold the line, not yet, because he wants to exhaust every last diplomatic option. Not because he's weak, but because he knows that the second he gives the order, the world changes. And here is the warning that his team has already delivered to Congress. If local leaders keep blocking federal enforcement, if ICE continues to be attacked, if missile shipments keep arriving in Iran, then Trump will act. The National Guard will be mobilized, the strategic posture will shift, and this country will move from warning phase to wartime footing. Because let's be real, guys, we may be one protest, one strike, or one explosion away from total escalation on two fronts. Now, of course, there's a second part to this. There's a report that came out, and it's probably the most important one. Now, what we're going to ask here is what happens if this doesn't calm down? What happens if this is coordinated? And what does it mean for every American watching this right now? So, and if you've been watching this so far, guys, and I'm sure many of you guys have been, I want you to take a second and just type "stand ready" in the comments. And I want you to get ready for what we're seeing right now. You've already seen the signs. Iran threatening nuclear escalation, China fueling their missile program, federal agents under siege right now, right here at home. And you have Democrat leaders telling law enforcement to stand down instead of standing up for their own citizens. So the real question is very simple, but it's rather terrifying. What if this is coordinated? What if we're already living through the early stages of a multi-front attack, just not the kind that we're trained to see? Make no mistake, guys, we're absolutely closer to the brink than at any point in recent history. Experts across the board, from former CIA officers to four-star generals, are warning that 2025 is the most volatile year since World War II. Because what we're facing isn't just one crisis, it's the convergence of all of them. International, a hostile nuclear regime in Iran fueled by China, protected by Russia. Domestic, cities in chaos, federal laws being ignored, violent street protests dressed up as activism. Political, a fractured nation led by two sides that can't agree on basic truths, like whether borders should even exist. And with Trump back in office, the stakes have never been higher. I mean, he knows one wrong move could spiral a global conflict, but he also knows that doing nothing might be even worse. So now it's really up to us, we the people, to decide how we respond. Because whether it's war or economic collapse or the slow erosion of American law and order, we're either prepared or we're not, right? And this starts with knowing the truth. even when the media refuses to report on it. So if you've made it this far in the video, I want you to drop a comment down below and just answer this question directly. Do you believe that these events are coordinated? Yes or no on that one. Don't overthink it. Just type yes if you see the connections, but type no if you believe that it's all happening at once by accident and, there's no coordination there. But here's what else you can do right now. I want you to hit the like button to boost this video through the algorithm and to get the truth out there. Share this video with someone who still thinks that this is just about protest or foreign policy, and subscribe and turn on that bell notification if you want daily news updates just like this one as things develop. Now, if you want to prepare your household for what's coming next, mentally, physically, I want you to check out the links in the description down below this video, guys. This is not just about missiles or freeways. This is about the fight for control, the control of our borders, our laws, our nation's future. And right now, every American has a choice to either wake up and stand up or look away and hope somebody else does it for them. So anyway, I hope you guys appreciated this update. This is Ron. I'll see you guys on the next video.